first came up with the calendar idea, it was really based on just having cars, nice cars and selling calendars. Well, we added in, we said, make it a little bit more meaningful. So we said, why don't we remember a fallen soldier each month, for each calendar? And and so that's one of the biggest challenges for us was having to contact some of the families and letting them know what we're doing and why we're doing it and the money that we're raising, where it all goes, and so on. And it was a very touching and very emotional experience because talking to other families that have lost either a husband or a child or a loved
Yeah.
one, it was very 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 emotional for us and them as well. But the gratitude that was shown from every one of the families was
Mm,
just, I mean, just made up for it all, because just knowing that somebody else is remembering your loved one meant so much to those folks.
I'm sure.
And so, it's, uh, I get emotional just thinking about it.
You're listening to the Just Saying podcast, offering conversations with experts that will educate, inform, and entertain. Here's your host of the Just Saying podcast, Charlie Cornacchio.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Just Saying podcast. Thanks for joining us today. This is a somewhat somber but uplifting episode of the Just Saying podcast, because today we visit with a Gold Star family from Keller, Texas, who lost their son in November of 2013 in Afghanistan. Alex Viola was a Green Beret who was part of a detail in Afghanistan there to help train the Afghans. The staff sergeant was on a 6-month deployment tour, and 2 months into his tour, he was killed trying to disarm an improvised explosive device. It was Alex's dream to serve his country. He came razor close to becoming a Navy SEAL. He switched from the Navy to the Army and died doing what he loved doing. Alex was strong. He was in great shape. He was personable. He had a great sense of humor and just a fun kid to be around. I know this because Alex was my nephew. While on this tour in Afghanistan, there was word that an IED was spotted in one of the mountains near their camp. Alex volunteered to go up and defuse it. The kid had no fear. The device exploded while he was trying to disarm it, and on November 17th, 2013, Alex died at the age of 29. It was a moment that changed people's lives forever. The Green Berets, Alex's superiors, but most of all, his mother, his father, and his sister. Being a Gold Star family is a designation meant to honor the service members' ultimate sacrifice, while also acknowledging their families' loss and grief and continued healing. But that road towards healing is filled with days of emptiness, confusion, pain, and darkness. The loss of Alex shattered the Viola family, and that grief was shared by extended members of the family: grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, nephews, his classmates, his teammates, uh, his friends from the military community, and the community of Keller, Texas. It's amazing how profoundly one tragedy can reverberate through the rest of the world. The pain and the emptiness never goes away for the ones left behind. You just kind of learn to cope with it. While the Viola family deals with this kind of pain and loss every day, their strength and resolve is a true inspiration. Alex's parents, Peggy and Frank Viola, and Alex's sister, Christina, have found a pathway to cope with this devastating loss by creating a positive way to keep Alex's memory alive while helping others. The Viola family took Alex's love for cars and created one of the premier car shows in Texas, also in his name. Since 2015, the SSG Alex Viola Memorial Car Show has raised over $175,000, and each year divides those proceeds equally to the Special Operations Warrior Foundation and the Green Beret Foundation to help military members and their families while keeping the memory of Alex alive. Their car show was supposed to take place November 8th, but because of COVID and the concerns of spreading with a lot of people around, they decided to do the car show virtually this year.
We miss him terribly, and I think he would love this car show. So, we always talk about doing one, and here we are in his honor. So thank you for supporting that.
I want to thank everybody, all the obviously all the car guys, all the spectators.
We are so grateful that you guys can make it today. It's been picked a better day. This is actually the first year of our show that we've had weather like this, and we are so grateful.
Baby Viola join us today, coming to us from Keller, Texas. And guys, thanks so much for coming on the Just Saying podcast. Good to see you.
Thanks, Charlie. Thanks for having us today.
Good to see you too.
Yeah, we wanted to have you guys come on because I guess over the past 5 years, you guys have been putting on this awesome car show that's really evolved and it's grown in scope and attendance and everything else. But this year, because of COVID concerns, you really kind of had to make a tough decision and try to do it really almost virtually rather than have an all-out car event with 300 people, 300 cars and about probably 1,000 attendees, right? Tough decision to make, I guess, right?
Charlie, was extremely difficult. This obviously this event means a great deal to us because of Alex. And it seems that not only does it mean a lot to us, it means a lot to the community, which really has really elevated the event into a more of a staple event for the town. So on many different fronts, it was very difficult. It was probably one of the most difficult decisions we've made lately. So because of the COVID-19 situation, we felt that it was probably the most responsible thing to do. And the last thing we would want is be some sort of a big spreader event, whatever they call it, the super spreader event. And in lieu of not having the car show, we plan on doing other things to generate some donations for the Green Beret Foundation and the Special Operations Warrior Foundation.
We talked a little bit in the top of the show about those organizations. We'll talk a little bit more, but I mean, the event has really, it's raised thousands of dollars each year. It's an event with a lot of cars. It's got a raffle. It's got a silent auction. It even has an air show, which we'll show you a video of. How do you keep up the success of donations this year without the ability to do a live in-person kind of show?
Well, therein lies our challenges. Last year, we had nearly 400 cars, which at $20 a car adds up to, quite a bit of money. And then, of course, all the apparel that we sell, the auctions, all the other things. Last year, we generated over $100,000. And so it's going to be tough. It's going to be a real challenge to try to, achieve that same goal. But what we are doing in lieu of the car show this year is we're doing 4 calendars and some other T-shirts which we'll be selling online. It's going to be, like I said, a bit of an uphill climb for us. I don't know that we're going to be able to make that number, but we will definitely be making some large or a significant donation this year. And all the people that normally would come to our car show have been stepping up and asking, what can we buy? What can we, so they want to make donations. They feel so compelled to make donations this year to try to help us achieve that goal. So we'll see where we end up.
It's a lofty goal. I mean, last year you broke $100,000, right? So that was pretty phenomenal. But I know, in your hearts, you're trying to do the best you can do with what you've got to work with, all in the memory of Alex, and also for these great causes that you're splitting that money up to. You guys have an army of volunteers, whether it's the community, it's friends and family, helping out in all different ways. Let's talk about the volunteers and how that aspect works and what it means to you.
We get so many people wanting to help that we literally have to put them kind of on like a waiting list kind of thing. Yeah. First of all, we have, a great family. We support each other, even though we're kind of all over the country. Everybody comes together to support this cause. Aunts, uncles, grandparents, cousins, and that means a lot to us. They all fly in, and everybody has a job, and everybody just pitches in, and it kind of flows. The whole car show flows because everybody is there to help, and they kind of know what to do. Neighbors, and we have a great group of friends that donate food, which is a real big help because we get a lot of visitors coming in, the military, Alex's team, and that really helps. We host 2 dinners to thank the family and friends and neighbors that come and help. And as far as the community, the mayor is phenomenal. All the town members, the city members are very supportive and really, really help out. So we're very grateful for the support, because if we didn't have the support, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. We're like the vehicle, and everybody else is what helps us bring in the money for these causes.
You come from a big family, so big gatherings for you are pretty the norm, I guess you'd say.
I love it.
But
Yeah.
has this become more of a family event?
Yes, yes, absolutely. It's like a family reunion, which is great. Everybody comes in, and we have several days of just getting together and catching up. And of course, everybody's there for that main reason, for Alex and for all the guys, all the military, and for the 2 foundations. So we're very grateful. We just love everybody. We just love them.
It's such a positive atmosphere and a positive cause and a positive few days. And you've got a cast of thousands. We'll show the picture of all of the volunteers. It's a small army that work on this. But what you said about sort of like a reunion is true, because typically families who are across the country only get together for funerals and weddings. And so now you've got this cause where everybody can get together, tell their Alex stories, remember him, and catch up, like you said. And Frank, you have relatives, pretty far away up in Niagara.
I do. And Charlie, just to expand on what Peggy was saying, it's become much more than a fundraising event. It's now become a reunion for several different groups, not only family, but we also have a reunion for Alex's friends, his high school friends, his college friends, and his military friends. So I retired a few years ago, and now it's become a reunion for all my my former, my peers that I've known for so many years. So now we all get together. And like I said, this event has become much more than just a fundraiser. It's become a reunion for several different groups.
Let's get into the genesis of how this whole thing started, because here, you're suffering this tremendous loss. And I know that in your former life at NEC, as a general manager, you were responsible for a lot of the major events and overseeing those. And you were doing a lot of like golf outings and that kind of stuff for your dealers and your customers and stuff. But you didn't choose a golf outing. Tell us kind of how you guys, were you sitting around a table and said, we've got to do something? Or was it just, kind of therapeutic? You weren't sure it was going to grow to what it grew to? Give us a behind the scenes kind of feel.
Obviously, after Alex passed, it was a very dark time for us. And Peggy and I, Christina, we all sat together and we wanted to do something. And Alex and I were both, we were both car nuts. And so we attended so many different car shows together. There were weekend events that we would go away. So he was my right hand. The light bulb went off. We said, why don't we do a car show? And truth be told, there's a lot more work in putting on events than I even knew. I had a good staff of people that did these events. And so I came to realize that there's a lot of things that I really did not know. And so I called upon some of my former employees, some of the people I worked with, and they came out and they helped us. And we put this event together. And it's just every year seems that it grows and keeps growing. We started out the first year expecting maybe 40, 50 cars, and we ended up with 180 some odd cars.
Wow.
We're up to close to 400 now, and we have an air show. We have several, former military folks that are part of the car club that we work with, the Mad Dog Car Club, the great organization, and they started making calls to the Pentagon and different places just to try to find out what it's going to take to get some sort of flyover, and that's how it started. We had our first flyover 2 years ago, and it started out, we were going to get a C-130 flyover, and everybody approved it, the Air Force, the FAA, everybody approved it except for the state of Texas because the resources come from the Air National Guard. And so we said, okay, it was too good to be true anyway. So we ended up going to a local air museum, and we got them to commit to a few different smaller aircraft, do flyovers and do a little air show. Well, the night before the car show, I get a call from one of Alex's buddies that was located, he was in the Air National Guard up in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And he said that he had heard that we had requested a flyover. And I told him it was turned down by the state and so on. And he said, listen, we're going to be there tomorrow with two F-16s. And I said, are you kidding me? He said, no, we're not kidding. He goes, we're going to be there tomorrow with two F-16s. He said, this is the state of Oklahoma. And so we're coming. And that's how it all began. And last year we had four F-16s piloted. Lead pilot was one of Alex's buddies who happened to be in Afghanistan at the time when Alex lost his life. And so it was even more meaningful having those F-16s there. But on top of the F-16s, we've had UE-1 helicopters, we've had some acrobatic aircraft doing smoke shows and different types of acrobatics. We've had just a number of different aircraft. And so our car show has grown up from what we thought was going to be a small car show to this major event now. Like I said, the city of Keller and all the surrounding cities have really come to look forward to this event each year. Yeah. So, it puts a lot of pressure on us because each year we want to do better or not less than what we did the year before. Next year, 2021, should be a very, very good show because we're building up a lot of the things that we're planning for this year. We're going to be putting in towards next year.
Aside from family and friends, the military coming to support this thing, local businesses and national businesses have also come and support. You mentioned the Mad Dog Car Club, which is a bunch of incredible guys, and I find that there's a connection between a lot of guys who are car enthusiasts and the military. A lot of them are veterans, so it kind of fits in. But Turnkey, that operation has also been pretty instrumental as well. American Airlines. I mean, talk about a little bit of those guys.
We went out the first day just knocking on doors and trying to get sponsors. And we have a lot of local sponsors that, stepped up and wanted to help us out. And one day I get a call from a gentleman that worked from American Airlines, and he wanted to meet with me. And so we met for breakfast, and he said, we normally don't do local events. Our events are usually either international or national events. And the gentleman that helped us was former Army. And he read about Alex. He actually said he had come to the funeral. And so I guess there was, he had a soft spot in his heart for what we were doing. And he convinced, his superiors at American that we want to do this event. And so American Airlines became a sponsor a few years ago. And the first thing they did was they pay for all the air travel for the soldiers coming in. Wow. One of the staples of our event is our judges. The judges are all Green Berets, most of which served with Alex in Afghanistan, and then others that just were friends with him. And that basically was the qualifications that they set forth themselves, that you have to have known Alex or served with him. Mm-hmm. And so American Airlines was gracious enough that they would fly the soldiers in every year. And then, of course, they've gotten us involved in other sponsorship type things where they donate money to our event and so on. So they've been a great sponsor, very helpful. This year, of course, everything kind of came to a grinding halt because of the
Yeah.
COVID. Long story short, American will continue being a sponsor of ours for years to come, and they'll continue flying in the soldiers as long as the soldiers want to come in. So.
Oh, how awesome is that? And the Mad Dog Car Club. I mean, it's a bunch of guys that I mean have hearts as big as you could imagine, who have really kind of helped you out as well.
Yeah, the Mad Dog Car Club is. I'm sorry, Peggy, and I don't mean to. They're a very. It's a special group of people. There's over today. It started out as a joke and turned into this car club that's very effective in all the communities. They have over 600 members today, and they're a real driving force in the area, and they have not only do they help us out with all the with the show itself and guiding traffic and just helping wherever they can, but they're also our largest donors.
Hmm.
Yeah.
These folks, I mean, every year they donate in so many different ways, but the one thing that I want to touch on is
Very
our
generous.
calendars. This year, we're doing 4 calendars, and we sell each month on the larger calendars for $1,000, and then the smaller ones for 500. Well, within a week, Mad Dog Car Club sold out all the spots in all 4 calendars.
Yeah.
And so that was a huge bump for us, right out of the chute. We expect to have all our calendars this week, and then we'll start selling them online, as well as we're going to have some booths set up at local events and things like that. So we're going to be pushing out some calendars this year in lieu of the car show.
The calendars, we're showing them here. These are the calendars. This is kind of what they look like. The images that you see are guys from the military. So, what kind of research went into trying to find the guys from the military?
One of the biggest fears in losing a loved one, especially a child, is the fear that people will, over time forget that person.
Right.
And so what we decided to do was when we first came up with the calendar idea, it was really based on just having cars, nice cars and selling calendars. Well, we added in, we said, make it a little bit more meaningful. So we said, why don't we remember a fallen soldier each month, for each calendar? And so that's one of the biggest challenges for us was having to contact some of the families and letting them know what we're doing and why we're doing it and the money that we're raising, where it all goes, and so on. And it was a very touching and very emotional experience because talking to other families that have lost either a husband or a child or a loved
Yeah.
one, it was very 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 emotional for us and them as well. But the gratitude that was shown from every one of the families was
Mm,
just, I mean, just made up for it all, because just knowing that somebody else is remembering your loved one meant so much to those folks.
I'm sure.
And so, it's, I get emotional just thinking about it. So,
Yeah.
The two organizations that we support, the Green Beret Foundation and the Special Operations Warrior Foundation, they help us find the families. They'll send us their names and the information, and then they'll contact the families. And then, of course, we'll contact some of the families that would like to speak with us, or would like contact with us. And then, of course, just through knowing people who've lost a son or daughter or husband or wife in the military, they'll come to us or we'll go to them, and so we'll ask them, would you mind if we have them in our calendar? And of course, like I said, they're more than happy to do it, and they're very grateful.
Mm,
And then we send them calendars for them to have, so that.
right. Yeah.
and like I said, the end result is that they get to see their loved one remembered by other folks, which is so meaningful and so even for us, when people remember Alex, it means so much to us. So
Right.
so it's it's something unique. It's something very special, very near and dear to our hearts, and we'll continue doing it as long as we can.
And you talk about the uniqueness of it. The uniqueness of this car show is unlike any other car show that I know of, that I don't know that there is such a, car shows have like a 50s theme. All the car shows kind of have that 50s theme, or they're a fundraiser for an affliction or a disease or something like that. But yours is such a heavy military presence with a lot of veterans who come as attendees, old guys who have been in, like, World War II or Korea War. From start to finish, there is such a respect and a patriotism that comes with this car show that makes it so far removed from just a car show. And I would think that that was something that kind of evolved over time, or obviously the connection between Alex and cars and his military background, but it's become so prevalent at this point. You see that?
It has evolved from the first one when we thought, hey, if we get 50 cars and we make $1,000, that's gravy. And it just blew us away at the end of the first car show, having 180 cars show up and making $20,000 just blew us away. And it was just word of mouth. People would actually approach us and say, oh yeah, I heard about your car show, or I saw your poster, or yeah, we want to come. And I have a father who was, a veteran in Vietnam War, and I want him to come. And I know somebody who has a really cool car. I'm going to tell them. And it just started to grow. And then we got the businesses like Enterprise Rent-A-Car donates every year to us and will give a rent-a-car for the military when they come in.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, everybody wants to help and do things, and every year it just gets bigger, and we're so grateful. It's sort of just blossomed beyond our control.
Yeah.
We're just like I said, we're just like the vehicle, it takes a village. Let's put it that way.
Right.
So.
Oh, Peggy, aside from the reunion, the family aspect, the community aspect, what does this event mean to you?
Okay, I'm probably gonna cry. Okay. It means a lot. When we first got word about losing Alex and having to go through that whole horror at the beginning, it was clear in our minds that we felt like we wanted to do something for the positive, for the good. We just had to do that to get out of the dark place. So having the car show for me is a time when people will talk about Alex. They'll say his name. We learned so much about Alex that we didn't know, like how he was with his friends and how he was with the military, and people that we never knew he knew, when they would come up and tell us stories, and it was of comfort to us. And then, that really meant a lot to me. Plus the fact that we're able to, donate in his memory, and then actually kind of support other families going through the same thing that we're going, through. It's just a good feeling, at this time of year, because this is the time of year that he was killed. So it's a difficult time for us, but having family, friends, the city people, neighbors, people we don't even know there, all gathering together for the same cause. It's just, to me, a good feeling, and it's comforting, and it just gets us through a rough time, and we're just so grateful.
Frank, same question from your perspective. What does it mean to you?
Charlie, it means everything to us. There's two significant military related occasions throughout the year. One is Memorial Day and the other is Veterans Day. Memorial Day, obviously, is when we remember those who have served the country and lost their lives in battle and so on. And then Veterans Day, which is the day we remember all veterans and recognize them for their service. For us and all the other Gold Star families that are out there, every day is Memorial Day and every day is Veterans Day. Our show brings us a lot of joy and a lot of happiness, just knowing that everybody that day is remembering your loved one. It started out where we were trying to figure out when we wanted to do our show. And Alex, we lost Alex November 17th, 2013. And so it was close to Veterans Day. So we decided that we wanted to do our show in November. And of course, that also came because there are no other car shows that take place in November. and usually the season ends the end of October. So we decided not to interfere with all the other shows. So we decided to do ours in November. But more importantly, we did it because of Veterans Day, and of course, because of the date that we lost Alex. The event has, like I said, it means a great deal to us. We of course, we think about Alex every minute of every day. So. But it means a lot to us because it's that day that people remember Alex, other people remember Alex, and that means a lot to us.
Yeah, you're definitely keeping his memory alive in such a good, positive, uplifting way. And the families that you help with the money that you guys raise, all that money, by the way, goes back into the organizations.
That's
All
correct.
of that money goes back into the organizations. This is
Yeah,
all volunteer work. Everybody we showed you in the little video clips and the pictures, those are all volunteers. Everybody volunteers their time. A lot of the vendors volunteer their services, their products, and it's just a tremendous coming together for one common cause, and it just is extremely heartwarming. So the website where everyone can learn more about Alex and the foundation and the calendars and everything else you've got going on, we've got it on the screen here. And so 2021 in November, do you have a date yet for the show?
we do. We do. November 7th.
Oh, wow. Great.
And
Okay.
one other thing I wanted to touch on, some of the most important elements of our show. Uh, the one thing are the soldiers that come out. There are judges, so that makes the event uh, even more special and different because they're not just on a pedestal where people can see them. They're actually interacting with every car person out there.
Right.
They talk with them. They sit in their cars. They engage in conversations, and it's just a great event. And it's so special to all those people that attend our show, getting to know the soldiers. I didn't realize it in the beginning because we're so accustomed to talking to the guys all the time, but to many people, they never met a member of the of the special forces or a Green Beret. So to them it's a real special treat to be able to meet and talk to some of these guys. The other element that's very special to our event is the trophies, the awards that we give out. We wanted to make it very symbolic and very special, and as a tribute to Alex, especially. So we decided to do these statues, which you can probably see behind us. And so those are our awards, and we give out so many every year. And this past year, we ended up designing our own statue modeled after Alex, and we call it the Warrior. And so that between the soldiers judging the vehicles and the awards that we give out has made this event so different. It's not a $10 trophy. It's not a little plaque or anything like that. It's a very special trophy. And every person that we've ever given the Warrior awards out to, most of them have come back with comments saying that this one doesn't go in the garage. This one goes on my mantle over the fireplace in my living room. Like I said, a lot of these things we went into it not knowing what the reaction was going to be, and to our surprise, it's made the event such a unique and special event that people, like I said, throughout the year, that's all they talk about is our event, which really warms our heart. So
Yeah. Yeah.
makes it, like I said, the hard work, everything that goes into it, really makes it all worth it at the end. Just seeing the reaction, the money that we raise, the families that we help. So it's extremely rewarding.
Yeah. And something that you guys are working on together as a family, between you, Peggy, you and Christina, her family as well. All
Yeah.
good stuff.
Darlene, it goes way beyond that. It goes to, all our extended family, some of our close friends. I mean, everybody is so deeply engaged into, what we're doing. It's like I said, it's taking on a life of its own.
Yeah.
And for the guys on Alex's team, getting to know them. We've gotten close to many of them. They're like family. And I think many times when we've talked to them or to their wives, it helps them also to be involved in something like this.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
They want to help and they want to be involved, and they'll do anything for the cause.
Right.
So that's also special to us too.
And each year they come out, whether or not we, in the beginning, we before we did the car show, they were coming out. This year, because we're not doing the show, many of them are still coming out. So over the next few weeks, we'll be getting visitors from a lot of the songs.
That's great.
Blue.
Fire up the oven.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, my
Anyway, Peggy, Frank, thanks so much for coming on, sharing the story. Let's hope we can help you guys sell some calendars, some merchandise, get people more involved in this particular event, understand its importance, and maybe get behind it and help in any way that anyone else can help. Maybe they're in the other side of the country, but they want to help in some way, day of, throughout the year, whatever it is. And hopefully this helps to that end. So Frank, Peggy, give my regards to Christina, and thanks so much for coming on the Just Saying podcast.
Charlie, thank you so much for having us, and we thank everybody for their support. And we just, like I said, it's something that we do. We enjoy doing it, and we look forward to a great event in 2021.
Yeah, thank you, Charlie. It's an honor to be on your podcast too. So thank you for having us.
All right, thanks a lot. See you guys.
Bye.
That will do it for this edition of the Just Saying podcast. That was fun. Be sure to subscribe to our channel, never miss an episode. And also check out my book, How I Met My Mother and the Four Brothers I Never Knew I Had. You can find it on Amazon or wherever you get your online books. In the meantime, stay safe, be kind, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to the Just Saying podcast.